create multiple sources of income, and develop that investor mentality. So let's talk about that investor mentality. One of the big keys to the investor mentality is understanding how to do more with what you currently have. If you're always waiting to start some point in the future when you're in a different situation, guess what? You'll never start. So we have to learn, how do we do more with what we currently have? And that's where the power of leverage comes in. So if we take an example, the thing you're going to find, I find that having done this for many, many years, this is one of the most misunderstood things, and most people think they understand it. So let's go through, and hopefully this clarifies some things for you, because it's very powerful. If we take a home that's owned free and clear, most people's goal is to pay their house off. Let's use an academic example of that property value of $1. If you own it free and clear, as you'll see on the left side, your property value is $1, you've invested $1. Okay? You've got no mortgage. The bank's invested nothing. You have no borrowed funds. And the market, the value of the real estate market goes up by 10%. That means that your house that was worth $1 has gone up by 10%, which equals 10 cents. 10% is 10% of $1. So far, so good. All right? So let's check the next slide. Let's assume that you had a 50% mortgage. Now your property is still worth $1, but you've only invested 50 cents. The bank has loaned 50 cents. You've loaned 50 cents. Now, the real estate market goes up by that same 10%. But is that a 10% to the person that's invested 50 cents in this house? No, it's actually a 20% return on the 50 cents invested, because the real estate market appreciates the same regardless of whether or not there's a mortgage on the property. So let's go ahead and take this a couple steps further. If we look at a 75% mortgage, which is a little bit more typical, the property is valued at $1. The amount invested is 25 cents. The bank has loaned 75 cents. I've invested 25 cents. The market still goes up by that same 10%. But that 10 cents is equal to 40% of the 25 cents I have invested. I've now made 40% in the same situation where I would have made 10% had I structured my investments the same way that everybody else is doing. But everybody else is running out of money 66% of the time during their lifestyle. So let's take it a little bit further. Let's look at a more realistic example. You've got a property that's worth $1 million. On the top left-hand side, you'll see the property is worth $1 million. I've invested $1 million. Now, the bank has loaned nothing, and I've got $1 million invested. For example, the market goes up by 30%, the value of the property goes up by 30%, then I have made a 30% return. Now, if you look on the right-hand side, I've got a leveraged property where somebody puts 25% down and they've borrowed 75% from the bank. The market goes up the same 30%. Instead of making a 30% return for a house that's paid for free and clear, or a property that's paid for free and clear, they now make a 120% return. This is one of the critical elements that gives investors the ability to make up for lost time and to get a portfolio large enough to protect them into their old age. So this is a different way of looking at it. We try to use a few different ways. Look at some graphs. We'll use pictures, we'll use words and numbers, but let's just look at this real quickly in one place. If I've got a property that's owned free and clear, my return on equity when the market goes up, let's take Dallas. It's one of the markets we work in. Since 2013, the Dallas market's gone up 150%. That's slower than some of the markets that we work in and faster than others. But it's not that far off of the average of major metropolitan areas. So if I owned a property free and clear, I would have had a 150% return. If I had a 50% mortgage, I would have had a 300% return. And if I had a 75% mortgage, I would have had a 450% return. Using leverage is one of the key elements of building a portfolio that can provide for your family financially for your lifetime and into the future.